Good morning, my Ohana. It is April 12th, 2025. I am doing a live because I was going to make a video, but I have so much planned before I join Mona on her live this morning that I decided to just go ahead, go live, and not worry about making a video. So this is raw footage. I do not expect anybody to be joining me. It's early in the morning, quite unplanned, but this is the video. So recently I purchased a Handi Quilter Moxie ST. Sorry, it's a Moxie 18 ST. This is the newest addition to my sewing family here in my little sewing space. Good morning, Sandra. How are you? Did not expect anybody to be on. So the ST is a stationary long arm, and what makes it stationary is it is purely. Good morning, Lori. You're up early as well. I truly did not expect anybody to be on the live this morning. I'm just lazy. I have to go and scrub my screen porch this morning. But I wanted to do the video because I promised that I would make a video about George. So I've named him George. You will hear me talking about George, but what makes him stationary is that it is free motion quilting. The machine does not move on a carriage. At some point, if you want to put him on a carriage, you can. You would have to buy the assembly kit to with the wheels and everything else to put him on a carriage. Um, but he operates like a long arm, except it's free motion quilting. It is so what I wanted to tell you, Lori, you're always up early. I've been awake since 2 o'clock this morning, and my mind hasn't fully recovered from our trip yesterday. Sandra hasn't even gone to sleep yet. So one of the things I really wanted to point out about the ST is that if you have a Handi Quilter dealer in your area, it is much easier to pay the extra money to have this set up for you. Now, I received it on Tuesday. I purchased it from Sewing Machines Plus. Great people out there, great sales force. They gave me a very good deal on the machine, but it was a doozy to put the extensions on, and you can't see the extensions. Now, the table is 32 inches by 38 inches, and I have two extensions. The extensions are 18 inches by 30 inches each. So when it folds out, when I lift the extensions up, it is actually 64 inches wide, which is a good deal of space to So a king size quilt, a California king, anything that you want. But the machine itself is, I believe it does 2,200. It's 2,200 stitches per minute. It goes very fast. It has a very nice wide foot pedal that comes with it, and you can also start and stop it. It has a manual mode, a precision mode, and a cruise mode. I have played with it, and if I know Lori has seen it, so I was just doodle quilting, and I don't know if you can see that. It is just some doodle quilting that I was doing to play on George. The table itself is relatively easy to install. It did not take long. There are a few screws. The machine itself is relatively heavy. Um, and it comes in 3 different packages. So you have this huge package that comes with your insert table, and you have a package that has 2 packages that has the base of the table itself with the base. That was not a problem to put together. The extension tables, there are 48 tiny screws that you have to put in to get the extension on. Now that was a chore, and my husband said some not so nice curse words. I know that people wanted to do an unboxing, and I'm glad I did not do an unboxing because it wasn't pretty. I was crawling up underneath the table, screwing things down. And then what the instructions did not say was that there are little knobs that you have to put up under the insert to keep the machine stationary. So we got the machine on and it was wobbling around. And I finally figured out that you needed to put the knobs in there so you can place the inserts. It doesn't say the instructions are a little difficult to read. The table instructions are a little bit difficult to read. It is and there are very, very few videos. They do have an app that's called Built that they partnered with, but that is mainly to tell you how to thread your machine, how to turn it on, and how to put your M bobbin in. I have always free motion quilted on my sewing machine, and I have a Janome. It has an 11-inch throat space. This one has 18. So my Janome has an 11-inch throat space. It gets tough, but you can do it. You can sew on it and or free motion quilt on it. The machine itself, and I keep looking over there because Weeza is sitting there, my Janome, and it's not a problem as far as throat space. I just wanted something bigger to free up my sewing machine. It does not use an embobbin. So if you have no experience whatsoever with an embobbin, that in itself is a test. But when they gave you the instructions, they did not tell you that the needle needs. Hi, Zaza. How are you? Good morning. I did not expect anybody to be on here with me. I was just lazy, Zaza, this morning, and I just want to introduce my machine. And so I got the machine threaded, no problem. That instruction was easy. The bobbin, there was a pre-wound bobbin that came with the machine, and I could not pop the bobbin in there. What they don't tell you, yes, the light actually goes brighter, and I like it on medium light, but I turned it up a little higher for the video. But what they don't tell you is that your needle has to be in the up position for your bobbin to go in. So I bent my first needle, the needle that was in the machine, because I did not know any better. And I wish they would have told us that in the instructions to make sure the needle was in the up position. So once I figured that out after crawling around with the flashlight, trying to figure out why does the bobbin case go in without any problem, but the bobbin wouldn't. And then I realized that the needle was down. And once I lifted it up, popped the bobbin in, no problem. Then we come to, and these are not complaints, these are learning things because I love George. George, I've been very pleased with George. I've been very pleased with my purchase. Again, if you can't get around, if you think about purchasing one, you cannot get on the floor to do all the things, do all the screwing, screwing of the extension tables, it can get a little much. And I woke up very, very sore the next morning. It was just funny. And it does come with an automatic bobbin winder. Automatic bobbin winder works beautifully, except that I could not get a full bobbin to wind on the machine, and it was getting a little frustrated because it was not even. Good morning, Joy T. How are you? So it was not even, my threads were loose, could not figure it out. They make it look so easy in the videos. What they don't tell you is that there is a little sensor plate on here, and you actually have to adjust the sensor plate in order to get a full bobbin. Now, it does have an automatic stop and start, and it is supposed to automatically stop when the bobbin is full. It was stopping in the half position, and that was just really, really frustrating me. And I'm thinking, oh my gosh, I'm never going to get this. I need to call Sewing Machines Plus, say something is wrong with my machine. But I persevered. And there was this somebody on YouTube who actually shows you how to work. I think it's an Amara, but she went over the bobbin winder. And she said that you have to adjust the screw. And once I adjusted the screw, had no problem. Stuck a bobbin in there, wound it up, no problem. Now, it does come with a few toys or some extras. It came with this 1 yard of fabric, cotton fabric, that says Handi Quilter on it. And I could not bring myself to practice on this. What I am going to do is I'm going to make a cover for George so George doesn't get too dusty and when I am not using him. And it did come with sample thread, superior thread. Comes with some discounts, codes that you can go and use and try. Like I said, this is just my introduction video. Sandra, you have a Handi Quilter and your bobbin winder is different. Well, this is, I think this is, it looks like this, and it's relatively easy because this is where you thread your thread, and then the bobbin goes here, and it just has an on and off switch. It winds really, really fast. I mean, no time at all. And so I like that about it. It comes with an open and closed toe foot. I like the open because I like to see where I'm going. Hey, Joanna, good morning. How are you? I like to see where it is going. And then it comes with some, and I've already taken my items out, of course, because I was playing with it. And so it comes with some good little items. It came not it did not come with that. It comes with 2 packs of needles, and these are number 10 needles. I did go to my first quilting store yesterday, and had I known that quilting store actually is a Handy Quilter distributor. And if I knew that, I would have purchased it from there. And he said that he comes out and sets up, installs, and walks you through it. Did not know. So, again, if you are looking to purchase a Moxie long arm or the tabletop stationery, see if you have a dealer that will come and do it, because it will save you a lot of grief and you get to play on it a lot sooner. But it does come with some little toys. It did come with this little needle thing to help you change your needles. It came with some feet. I did buy the ruler foot, the shore foot, and I did buy a glide foot. Well, actually, I didn't buy it. It got thrown in for free when I spoke to Sewing Machine Plus. So, Sewing Machine Plus, I tagged you on this video. If you watch it, thank you very much. Max was a great salesman. Enjoyed him. Um, and then it comes with some extra bobbins. And it comes with a little flash drive. And the flash drive is so that if you have updates for your machine, you go to your computer, upload or upload the updates into the flash drive, and then there is a place where you can go ahead, plug the flash drive in there, and do all the updates. Now, I've not gone online. Like I said, I've received him. He came in on Tuesday, and I think I finally got to play with him on Thursday because I do work. Local for me is 100 miles is close. So Sandra, my local quit shop that I did not know existed until this week is 2 hours and 15 minutes from me. We happened to go down that way for my husband's VA appointment. And I just said, I'm going to Google and see if there's anything there, if there's any quilt shops or even a Joann's that was still open, and happened to come across this. And like I said, had I known that there was a dealer in the area, I probably would have gone there, and he said that he would have delivered. No, he would have charged me because I'm a little outside of the delivery zone, but it wouldn't have been a big amount. And he could have been setting up the machine and I could have had it ready to go. So, what is the difference between the Handy Quilter, free motion quilting on the Moxie 18 versus my sewing machine? It is the space. Everything is done like a long arm. And I did get to play with the long arm yesterday. And I did decide that I made the right decision because I have a bad back and I could not stand that long quilting a quilt. However, if I wanted to, excuse me, the table does rise up. And if I wanted to raise it up and quilt in a standing position, I could. The table, there is a pneumatic table that has the hydraulic lifts that will do it automatically. That table is $1,000 more, or in that price range. And I didn't think I wanted to spend that much on a table, but this one will raise up. You can quilt on it in a standing position. And again, once I open up my extensions, it comes to 64 inches. He fits on a coat. He's really easy to move. I actually did purchase the casters that go with it. So the casters lock in place and the table is very sturdy. There's no shaking when you quilt on him. And I can move him almost anywhere, except he will not fit through the doors. We actually had to lay him on the side, take out the casters, and pull them in here. And that kind of surprised me. Again, I guess I did not envision how big he would actually be. Um, but he fits perfectly in a corner. I pulled him out of the corner a little bit so that way I could videotape this and everything. And then he has a nice display, and I'm going to see if I can turn it around so you can see it. So again, he's on casters, and he has a nice little display panel, and I've got that light mode on. And I'm just going to go home. So it does have the manual speed, which means that you are quilting. Everything is done by the power of how quickly you move it, how fast you move it. The stitches will not be precise. If you move too slow, the stitches will be really tight. If you move too fast, your stitches may be very loose. It has a precision mode, and Jessica from Sewing on the Bluff, my friend Jessica, she likes the precision mode. And this is where I first saw this machine. Was Jessica has a Juki that sits on a table like this. And when I saw Jessica's, I'm like, that would fit in my sewing room because I have absolutely no room for a long arm. And again, I'm glad I did not invest in a long arm because my back would not have been able to handle it. And I'm short, and there was some leaning that was going on. And I was able to try the Moxie, the long arm version, sitting on the carriage. So it does have the precision mode, which happens to be Jessica's favorite mode, which means it will stop. Good night, Sandra. It will it will stop if you take your foot off the pedal, or if you stop it automatically. It just stops. Because I had been free motion quilting on my Janome, I'm used to that the needle goes down in the stationary point or in the down position, but it takes an extra one or two stitches when it stops. And so my mind, that muscle memory, is used to that stop when I'm free motion quilting. The precision mode will just stop. It will stop in the needle down position because that's what I've chosen, but it will just stop and it will not move. It's also your stitch regulator beeps. If you're going too fast, I can set mine up to beep. I do not have it turned on. There are two stitch regulator switches, and your fabric actually has to cover those stitch regulators. So it does have to be on there covering it, but I don't have it turned on. And then they have the cruise function, which is actually my favorite. I love the manual. The cruise function is really good because it stops in the down position, but it's not an immediate stop. So I have a little bit of more control of where I am going and what I am doing. But there's just a few things. They do have Handi Quilter classes. The local quilt shop that I spoke to said that they were having a 3-day Handi Quilter in-house sewing. You think you can turn it off? As I was the beeps. Oh, now, my Janome does not have a stitch regulator on it. It has, the Janome stitches, but if I go too slow, my stitches aren't quite nice, or if I go too fast, the stitches on the back of the machine. Okay. Your FOMO is on the off the charts. Zaza, Christmas is coming, you can get an early Christmas present. And I know about that FOMO. And Mona knows about that FOMO. Mona went out and bought a Juki for her cutie that she just purchased. So I'm excited about seeing Mona's cutie frame. But the machine is really, really nice. And honestly, after just playing with him for one day, because was able to actually get in there and play, is I don't think I could go back to my domestic and just free motion quilt on my domestic. This will spoil you. And I'm so excited because I'm actually working on, my husband's quilt. And I'm looking at the pieces, I'm like, "I need to just slap it together. Just need to get some blocks done, so I'll have 3 quilts to quilt," and I'm so excited about quilting on that. Um, I can't. I'm going to QuiltCon next year. I probably wouldn't use it enough to justify the cost. It's well, I don't know how much it would cost in Scotland. To me, it was my husband was really sweet, and I think that it's an investment. I want to retire, and so I'm looking at buying the toys before I retire. Well, there's no need to use your domestic now. No, I think if I ever did a small project, I would probably do it on my Janome, only because, again, the regulators have to be covered, and I don't know if I would have a piece big enough. So I think it depends. But can you imagine? I want to make those postcards, and you could just take some fabric, and I've got a secret project I'm working on that I'm going to be showing y'all if you go to the virtual quote retreat that we're having. But yeah, I'm looking forward to making some things, and I was thinking I could take some yardage of pretty fabric or even fat quarters, go ahead and make some nice quilting and then cut it up for those postcards. And it would be so quick and easy. And it does go quick. In fact, after I sewed on this, I was working on some blocks for my husband's quilt, and I'm thinking, "Oh, Janomi, you're too slow. You're too slow." You think George is beautiful. He is so, I mean, I am so happy with him. And sometimes I make purchases because I have FOMO and I get it and I'm like, maybe I should have waited. Joy tea. So you never know. You never know that I might just start a business. Um, I may just start a business and start quilting people's quilts. Not they might not like my quilting, but I'll be happy doing it. But yeah, and the thread isn't very expensive. So they do take the cone size thread, and this is superior, and you can use glide, and I love glide thread. And I can't show you some things I bought because I told Mona that I would not show it until her live tomorrow, or FOMO live tomorrow, or yeah, FOMO live today is Saturday. So our FOMO live tomorrow. But I'm just so happy. I'm just so happy with the machine. And would say that if you have back problems, you're looking for a machine, you want to do one, check out your local quilt shops or your handy quilter dealers and really, really look into this. Depending on what size quilts that you make, you do not have to have the extensions. Lori, you have tops for me too. I think my sisters, well, no, Deb and Mona are going to be sewing on their cutie soon. So yes, Zaza, and I did not think now Glide does not work well on my Janome, and it shredded on my Janome for some reason. So I was a little skeptical about using it on the machine, and I actually have Glide 40 weight on the top, the spool, and in my bobbin. And it sews up, like I said, it quilts beautiful, just really, really beautiful. I did have some issues with tension. Thank you, Joanna. I did have issues with tension. I've never had to set the tension on my Janome. My Janome is perfect. I love my Janome. It's an M bobbin, so it is the big metal bobbin, and it holds about twice as much as your standard bobbin on your sewing machine. Now, what that equates to, I know that if I am doing about a 60 by 60 quilt on my Janome, it will take me about 2.5, 3-inch bobbins, depending on what I'm quilting and how dense. Of course, if you're just doing a big meander, it does not use up a little as much thread. But if I'm doing a little bit more dense quilting, it will take me about 3 bobbins on the Janome. I'm looking forward to finding out how it does on here. Janome machines are, well, let's see about thread. Mine doesn't like Aurifil thread. So Zaza, Aurifil thread, and we've talked about this, is I don't know what has happened to Aurifil. I do not know if they had a big batch that may have had some weather related rot or age rot, because cotton thread doesn't last forever. But I did get a batch of Aurifil thread that would, every time I put it in, it would split. It would piece fine. It would not quilt fine. And it was really frustrating me, and I thought something was wrong with my machine, but it was actually the thread. And once I switched out that thread, it was fine. And like I said, I do have Glide. Glide doesn't work very well for me on my Janome when I'm quilting. It will piece fine, but it was shredding on me too. And I do not know if it was my pushing and pulling action. I don't know, but it's done really, really well. And Glide thread is vibrant in its colors. So I guess I'm going to be making an investment in thread because I do want to get bigger spools. I'll use what I have, but I do want to get bigger spools. Oh, I was talking about the tension. So I've never had tension issues on my Janome. The Janome has always been perfect. Never had to play with it. It's always done fine. If you have never used a long arm or have never had to deal with tension, I thought that by just turning it a little, it would solve the tension problems, but you actually have to take big turns to make a difference. You actually have to turn it You actually have to turn it all the way around. You almost have to do a full revolution, for it to show a big difference, and then you tinker from there. And so that was my biggest problem because I was getting frustrated. My bobbin wouldn't go in until I figured about the needle position. And then I was trying to sew when I could not get those perfect stitches I was looking for. And this, but the stitches came out fine. Once I looked at the, I watched a video in which I figured out that you needed to turn it a lot. It was the Handy Quilter video, that you needed to actually turn it and do something with it, make it move. That I figured it out, and I'm gonna have to get used to testing my tension before I quilt, because they said depending on the material of the thickness of it, and when, like, I do a lot of applique, that I'll have to test the tension to make sure it's correct. But I hadn't planned on staying on here long. I just wanted to do a really brief introduction to George, let you admire George for a little bit, let him, be all shiny in you for you. And I just decided to do a live. I tried to do one video and I said, "You know what? I'm just too tired for this." But that's about it. This is George. I hope you get to see some quilts coming off of George. I'll share the first quilt that I finished on George completely, and I am looking forward to doing some thread art on him. He is wonderful for doing thread art. And Zaza, let me tell you, it is a big difference being able to sew or quilt this way without the hindrance of the, the sewing machine in its normal position. Oh, what a wonderful investment. So if you think about it, if you're thinking about, or if you're interested, looking about it, you can always, get on Discord with me, and I will give you any tips. If you have tips, I appreciate it too. But I'm just loving the long arm. I'm just loving the stationary long arm. Very, very good choice. Very good choice. Oh, and Zaza, you don't have to put a slot. You don't have to. It's so slick that you do not have to put that slip and slide thing underneath your mat. Your thing just your fabric just moves so smoothly, and it almost gets away from you because you're not used to it. Good morning, Giovanna. Because I'm not healthy. Joy T, this was great. Thanks for sharing. I don't think Lana's coming on at 7 because she went to retreat. So if not, come back on later. Well, Joy T, I have that live at 4 o'clock with Mona and Deb, and Jess and William are going to be on there. So I will probably just be sewing and letting them do their thing. And Zaza, you know. FOMO is real. We all do it. We tend to buy things we absolutely do not need. And my scanning cut, my brother, he still needs a little attention because I've been ignoring him with work and all. But yeah, this is a wonderful machine. I would highly recommend it. Originally I was looking at the Janome, and I was told that the Janome is an Amara, that Janome purchases the Amara and just puts its name on where Amara goes. And I think basically they're almost all the same. So yeah, I just wanted to do a quick introduction video. Again, I didn't think anybody would be on here. I'm sorry Leanna will not be here. Will be live. I would do live, but I promised my husband that I would go out and pressure wash the house. So that's what I'll be doing this morning. George is not going to get hardly any love. Um, but I appreciate y'all coming in. Giovanna said, "Morning, Joy T, Buddy, Pal, Diddy Bopper." I appreciate y'all coming in and stopping by and just showing me. Oh, Joy T, I'm sorry. If I hadn't promised my husband that I would go and help him clean down. And now my husband is asthmatic, so he cannot tolerate all those smells from the chemical smells. And that's my job is I go over there and I brush everything down, spritz everything and brush it down. And then he'll take the pressure wash. He'll take pressure wash the house versus playing with George. I know. But my husband was so good to me in making this purchase for me that I got to show him some love back. We do not need the hubby getting jealous of George. We do not. So, but I appreciate you just showing up. I'll occasionally I'll do a video. Videos are hard with my work schedule, but occasionally I will do a video with me actually quilting on it. I do want to get a little bit more comfortable. And like I said, I want to go ahead and baste a quilt and actually quilt a quilt. So I have a top that is a charity quilt, and I'm probably just going to meander on that, but I do love to doodle. Rudy got a Moxie 43. Oh, Joey T, thank you so much. But yes, so that's it. I'm gonna end it now. I'm hope maybe somebody will pop up live, here to keep you company. I won't see you back here until 4 o'clock with Mona, and then we'll be on twice tomorrow. That might be all you can deal with me. But if you have Giovanna, if you have any questions, if you want to buy one, so Machines Plus, if you don't have a dealer. But again, if you have a dealer close to you, I would suggest reaching out to them, seeing what kind of deals they can have and if they can set it up for you. So that's my tips. And this is George. And I am going to end this. You all have a great day. I will see you later after all. And I will take a shower before I come on the live. Oh, there's no fun. It is covered with pollen. My screened-in porch is yellow, and so that all needs to be washed down, especially if the kids come. We don't want them tracking it around or the dogs. So I will talk to you all later, and you all have a great Saturday. Sean should be coming on in a couple of hours. We'll talk to you later. Bye.